How's it going, everybody? Welcome into a new episode of Benchwarmers. I'm on the road. We are just past New Boston. This is Sasha. I have treats in my hand, so she'll behave. Daniel, man, what you got going on? I see the Yankees jersey going on right now.
Well, it is College World Series time, so I was like, hey, let me put on something baseball affiliated. I only have two baseball jerseys, both of them Yankees jerseys. Yes, folks, I am a Yankees fan. Nobody's perfect, but the Yankees are near and dear to my heart. I may not know the roster up and down. I couldn't tell you the farm system or anything. I just know when the Yankees win, I'm in a better mood, and when they lose, I'm in a less positive mindset. But this is my 2009 Mariano Rivera 2009 World Series Yankees jersey, their last World Series of the
Heck yeah.
many. Yeah, it's College World Series. Awesome day. We're recording this on a Monday, the day that Gage Wood threw the third no-hitter in College World Series history for the Arkansas Razorbacks to keep their series alive. So it was just a fitting thing to keep the baseball theme going, Alex.
Yeah, obviously a huge baseball time right now. LSU taking on UCLA as we speak. You got the little stand on your phone there watching it. But look, the biggest story right now locally is got to be golf, right? With Sam Burns kind of, for lack of a better word, imploding there in the last round. Philip Barbary becoming a fan favorite up in Pittsburgh. Shreveport somehow out of nowhere is kind of on the map, Daniel.
Yeah, when you looked at it for a while, the top of the leaderboard on the weekend crew was Sam Burns, and then at the bottom of the leaderboard, not a shot at Philip Barbary Jr., but the fact that Shreveport sandwiched the U.S. Open with the lead,
Right.
and the person in last place that made the cut, Philip Barbary Jr., not officially in last place because of the players that got cut that didn't make the weekend. But yeah, Sam Burns. I don't know if I would call it an implosion. I guess I'm being nice. It got away from Burns. He had that birdie on 10 to start off his back nine, and you're thinking, all right, Sam, the only one, two under par, very two shots clear of second place, and then 11, it starts to go downhill. He has the double bogey, follows that up with another bogey, I think on 12, and then 15 is where it really went squirrely for Sam. He still had a shot to get back to maybe a stroke or two behind J.J. Spawn, who had then taken the lead with his amazing comeback. But that water ruling in the fairway on 15, you heard one of the commentators say that it was a bad ruling for Burns. For those that don't know or didn't see, Burns hits the fairway. It's on that very edge of the fringe of the fairway and that first cut of the rough. And it was essentially standing water while not directly visible on the TV cameras and apparently to two USGA officials. Water logged in that area, but not enough for it to warrant relief for Sam Burns to get some, club lengths away from the hazard because all the rain that came in Oakmont. So you would think that
Right.
it's not a naturally occurring water hazard. It was just rain on the course. I saw a video on Twitter of where Sam had shot, and it was like there was no way. Like, yes, it wasn't directly like a puddle, but it was waterlogged enough to where you really didn't get solid footing, and the contact of the club would be affected by the water that was under Sam's ball. I say all that to say Sam Burns double bogeys 15. At that point, he was already out of contention after that double bogey, and finished tied for seventh after having the 54-hole lead heading into Sunday for the U.S. Open. Had the 36-hole lead as well, which was the first time in his career that he had a lead in any major. So a better showing for Sam over the last 2 weeks. Once at the Canadian Open and then at the U.S. Open, it didn't go his way ultimately with J.J. Spawn winning his inspirational story. But Sam Burns hopefully uses this positive-ish momentum to close out the rest of his 2025 season. Still searching for his first win on tour, Alex. But what did you see on the road from your vantage point?
Well, I was watching from the Chicken Shack. I think that's what it was called, right? Yeah, on Route 66. Kim is here in the car. She's being incognito, of course. But the Chicken Shack, we were watching it, so I didn't get a good look at the drop. But obviously, I was very interested in or the lack of drop, I should say. So I did look into it, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong because you know much more about golf than I do. But the actual rule, from my understanding in PGA, is that it's not about where the ball is; it's about where the golf is if the feet are clear, then perhaps they would be less likely to get that drop if the feet were clear of water. It doesn't matter as much where the ball is. I don't know if that was your understanding or not.
Yeah, the USGA, from what I saw, because like you're making contact with the ball, so the ball, that's where it is. That's where the contact is. He's not going to have solid footing as well. Like you can have your foot out of bounds, or generally where you're making contact with the ball. But there was enough, whether it was his foot, the ball, in that general area, there was enough water to where he should have been warranted relief. And it's a judgment call by the officials on the course. They can see it, but they ruled that it wasn't enough water to affect the shot. It's already in Burns' head that he wants to get relief. Like he's going up asking for relief for this shot.
Yep.
And two different USGA officials didn't grant him relief, and then we saw the end result. And as soon as he hit the ball, he sees it, tailing out, and he strikes the ground a couple of times, and you see the water splash up, and that was enough indication of how much water was under his feet and where the ball was. But yeah, if the ball's on like a sprinkler head or something, your feet are clear, but it's next to a hazard, and it's not a naturally occurring hazard, so they would give you a club's length relief or whatever obstruction is on the course. So I could be entirely wrong on the feet and ball situation, but it was enough of
Oh,
where
no.
he would need to get relief just
Don't
based
get me
off.
wrong. Don't. Well, we're having some connection
Yeah, Alex,
troubles,
maybe
obviously, but
break it up a little bit,
I'm
but
still
yeah, go ahead, Alex.
okay. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they got it wrong too. I mean, I think Sam got screwed a little bit here. I mean, I understand the criticism would say, oh, they're all playing it, yada yada yada. But I mean, like you said it, everyone saw that video on Twitter. It went mega viral. The situation he was in. I mean, how do you play that, especially considering what was at stake for him and everything coming down to it? But it was all kind of made irrelevant, in my opinion, when JJ Spawn hits that putt to seal the deal. I mean, that was the shot of the tournament, the shot of Spawn's life. It made me feel a little better as a Sam Burns fan when Spawn hit that birdie putt. To say, well, you know what, it's JJ Spawn's day. It's not Sam's yet.
Yeah, and if anything, J.J. Spawn won it rather than Sam Burns lost it.
Right.
Burns shot 8 over on the day, so he didn't help himself, obviously. J.J. Spawn caught all the bad breaks early. Another interesting story from him is that, it was on Father's Day for him. He's got 2 daughters. They're on the course experiencing Oakmont with him. His daughter was throwing up in the middle of the night heading into Sunday,
Yep.
so he had a lack of sleep on Father's Day, and then the shot on 2 where it hits the flag stick, and that's where you're aiming. You're aiming to hit as close to the hole, or depending on where your hole placement and the slope of the greens at that point. It rolls back another 40 some odd yards from a perfect shot. But credit to him for fighting back, and the drive. I want to say it was 16 or 17 where he drives the green from the tee box. Everybody else didn't hit that shot that day, but he hit the perfect shot, almost a hole-in-one on a par 4, a 316 some odd yard par 4, and then the putt on 18 needed at least a 2 putt, or had 2 putts to spare, and then the one from 64 feet was just absolutely amazing. And at that point, yes, I'm obviously rooting for Sam Burns and all the Shreveport guys to do well, but I was, oh my God, I lost my mind, and just a great story for him. 34 years old. I'm 35, so I had a bit of a self-reflection on Father's Day. Like, man, should have listened to my dad growing up and stuck with golf more, and maybe be a professional golfer one day. But that's neither here nor there. So shout out to J.J. Spawn for getting it done. And then Sam Burns, he'll bounce back, and it's a matter of time before Burns breaks through. He's had a couple of tournaments where it's kind of got away from him on Sundays when he's been in contention, but another learning experience for Burns, and he'll be back in the top 10 sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and you see it happen all the time in golf, right? Guys seem to be seemingly snake bitten in these majors, and he's still so young. I mean, he's got so much promise. We've seen it with him. I mean, he was in contention last weekend. He was in that playoff, and then you look at this. I mean, he really dominated the middle middle part of that tournament. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he was on fire. So he'll be back. But I did want to talk about Barbary a bit. I know we're talking a lot of golf here, but man, look, I understand you talk about someone like Sam Burns is trying to win the U.S. Open, Barbary just making the cut, but how significant that is for Philip to make a cut in a major like that. His wife caddying for him. I guess Roy got replaced for this tournament. Shout out Roy Lang. But what a moment for him. And you saw how much the Pittsburgh people came to love him. I'm sure I sent you the video. They gave him that Pirates jersey to wear for his final putt there. Just goes to show you, man, just some good old Shreveport boys. And it seemed like the folks out there in Pittsburgh loved him.
Yeah, they did. And once again, shout out to Roy Lang, his caddy on several events, sending up some sideline course, whole side video of him and his wife, Chloe, hugging and embracing. And you see the fist pump. First time to make a cut at any like PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour caliber event. And it comes at a U.S. Open governed by the USGA, separate from the PGA Tour. But you're picking up what I'm putting down with Barbary making a cut like that for the first time. In the Q school, qualifying school for golfers, he's on that course right now. He's past that first stage because he made this U.S. Open cut. So now he's on the second stage, and he'll continue to work his way up and eventually try to become a PGA Tour regular. But Philip Barbary winning the fans over in Pittsburgh at Oakmont, and we wish him well. And hopefully we'll be talking to Philip Barbary coming up here shortly. Former CE Bird and LSU Tiger golfer, and he is going to be making a name for himself one day on the PGA Tour.
Well, I have an update on that, but we'll talk about it off air. But okay. I am working on getting Barbary on, so we're trying to get Philip here on the show. I think we are going to make it happen in person, but we'll talk about that.
Okay. Programming note from Alex Anderson on the road driving back.
Yeah, we're working. But obviously, College World Series is tough to talk about right now. We're recording this on Monday. LSU is playing UCLA right now, right?
Yes, currently leading 5-3. I think the fifth inning just wrapped up as I'm turning my head to the right, looking at my phone. So going to commercial break, LSU leading 5-3. And as I mentioned earlier about Arkansas winning, Arkansas staving off elimination. The loser of LSU and UCLA will play Arkansas Tuesday to see who will play the winner of the LSU UCLA game Wednesday. This is, I guess, past Daniel talking about the future in the past. So whenever this airs on Wednesday morning. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be Arkansas, LSU again on Wednesday, or maybe UCLA and LSU again on Wednesday, or LSU and Arkansas on Tuesday. Who knows what's going to happen? Can't tell the future just yet, but maybe around, 9 p.m. Central Time on a Monday, we'll know what happens between LSU and UCLA.
Yeah, who knows? The College World Series is very unpredictable as always. Obviously, NBA Finals, that's kind of tough to talk about tonight as well because it's going to air. They're about to tip off game 5.
Game 5, in a little bit. We're recording this at about 7:20 right now. So, I'm hoping it goes 7 at this point. Game 6 would be Thursday, and then Game 7 would be Sunday. And it's been entertaining, man. I mean, this is what you want. I think we both kind of were like maybe ending in 6. So maybe Indy gets a win on the road again. Maybe Oklahoma City defends home court in Game 5. But I've thoroughly enjoyed whatever highlights I've been able to see. Not a game from start to finish. But I've been liking the NBA Finals so far. 2 small market teams, something that you hear the criticism from some people. Well, nobody cares about this. Like, well, what do you want? Is it going to be the high market teams, or do you want the small market teams in there? Like, be happy about something. And I'm happy to see Pacers fans and Thunder fans have something to cheer about. Alex with the dramatic pause or probably connection issues.
We might be connected. I think I'm coming back to you right now. All right, I think we're good. But pause for dramatics. I'm coming back from Oklahoma City, as you know, and that city is on fire. Like, they're freaking out about the Thunder. You couldn't go a mile without seeing a Thunder flag, people in Thunder jerseys, T-shirts. They're loving it. I mean, I know my father-in-law would not consider him a basketball guy at all, but he wanted to talk Thunder a lot, talking about the game and when they're going to play next. And so, yeah, there are a large group of people in both these cities that care a ton about what's going on here. And like you said, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Who gives a crap what market is in the finals? It's about the pinnacle of competitiveness. And we're seeing it. We're seeing two young teams with bright futures ahead, two budding superstars in this league. People aren't ready to admit that we're moving into a new era of NBA basketball. People are wondering, where's Kevin Durant going to go? Who freaking cares, man? Is it going to matter that much when we've got all these young stars in the NBA right now and Jokic, who is still the best player in the world? It's just that conversation, and I think it does the NBA more disservice than good. That clinging on the star of the past. I don't know, man. I think I'm breaking up again, but
the NBA is definitely
I love it.
a star-driven league, and we've seen it since really the start of Magic and Bird did it together. Then they passed the baton to Michael Jordan. Jordan kind of giving it to Kobe, and then LeBron taking it. So we're kind of looking for that next megastar, specifically from the United States, because the best players in the league are from foreign countries. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Canada. Some of the best players. I mean, you have some high quality American talent, Anthony Edwards, but he's talked about how he doesn't want to be the face of the league. Also, just a random update. LSU and UCLA in a weather delay right now in Omaha in the fourth inning. So we'll see if that game gets done in a timely fashion. Probably won't have highlights for that on a Monday night. But now bringing it back to the NBA, it's not. There's not that next star. Ja Morant was possibly going to be that, but then he got into his own kind of off the court troubles with brandishing firearms in places that he shouldn't. Tyrese Halliburton is kind of emerging this year with more of the casual audience for what he's done in the postseason. So I think it's more of a conversation of who's going to be that next star to take the thing, and it might be Cooper Flagg that's going to eventually be drafted by the Dallas Mavericks. So that could be a possibility. He'll need some couple of years to season there in Dallas to see if he can actually hang with the big guys and get those marketing opportunities. But he's already made a couple $1 million at Duke, so he's well on his way to taking that next NBA star title. But yeah, hopefully these finals are competitive, whether it goes 6 or 7. I just want to be entertained and get some close games and not blowouts. Avoid blowouts because then you lose interest, and that's not good.
Yeah, I'm looking for 7 all the way, and I'm also not looking forward to what do we think? Do we think next year's the LeBron farewell tour? He announces that he's going to retire, and then they, Luka goes off and they make a run, and then it's this whole thing. Because I will check out for that.
I can see LeBron telegraphing this will be my final year type situation. He got his year with Bronny in the league. Maybe he wants to run it back, get another full season of the Luka Doncic experience.
Right.
LeBron very passive aggressive. I think everybody kind of knows how he can be very cryptic sometimes and maybe not give the full scope of his potential decision making. I would prefer to see a spur of the moment. Hey, that's it. I'm calling a career, not drag it out. Mind you, my favorite Yankee outside of Mariano Rivera was Derek Jeter, and he had the farewell tour. We saw how that went with Jeets. But it's kind of a mixed bag. It's whether or not do you like somebody, do you not like somebody. I appreciate LeBron. I'm not the biggest fan of everything that he does, mainly when he milks injuries on the court where bro, you're a walking Greek god, if you will, and you get brushed on the shoulder. Oh my God, dislocate it. We've all seen it from LeBron. But appreciate him while he's here, 40 plus. The fact that he did what he did as a 40-year-old, now heading in 41 years old. I definitely want to see another healthy year for LeBron because Father Time undefeated, as we all know, and right now, I would give him at least, I want to say definitely next year, one more year with Luke, and I can see him hanging up after that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not. I guess I'm not trying to say that he doesn't deserve the farewell tour and deserve all of his flowers because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to deny the man's been unbelievable. I mean, he is on the Mount Rushmore of NBA players. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, like he just is. Um, and, and my wife Kim said he's made a lifetime Laker fan that like the Lakers less. So take
Mm.
that as you will.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, whatever. We don't have to get in LeBron talk. I could go on about that. Okay, we're getting to our interview, but I did want to mention Stanley Cup Finals because it's so Canada one last time. We can get a game 7. But what is the one thing that I have been saying about the Edmonton Oilers all year, and it has continuously let them down, is their goaltending. And here's the issue. All right, Stuart Skinner, he's not good enough. He can't do it. He can't win you a Stanley Cup. Their backup, Pickard, I think his name is, he is better, but he cannot play the puck well. And the Florida Panthers, their game is dump and chase, forecheck, they get all over you. A goalie like Skinner can neutralize that better with his puck movement. Pickard can't do it. You saw him that overtime goal in the last game that Florida won in overtime. Pickard was in net. He misplayed a puck behind the net. Bam, bam, it's a goal. So the Oilers are in trouble because of their goaltending. Can Connor McDavid, who only has one goal in these Cup Finals, best player in the world, you got to do better than that. Can Connor McDavid pull them back to Canada? And can they pull the miracle? Because as it stands, Florida just looks like the better team. Edmonton's kind of gotten out of that rough and tumble game that Florida wants them to play. They have no hope in winning if they try to get back into that crap. But it seems like Florida in 6. I want 7 so bad. I want to see McDavid flying around. I want to see best on best. I want to see the NHL on this pedestal of greatness as it deserves to be. And I'm kind of pulling for McDavid. I feel bad for the guy. I don't care. It's not Canada versus the United States. It's not. We're going to see that in the Olympics. I like the story. We talked about it, I think, last week. Come on, McDavid, do something.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see the best players perform their best on the biggest stage, and right now, just from what you've described about Connor McDavid hasn't performed the way that he is supposed to do for the accolades that he has received, warranted accolades. I would like to see it go 7 as well, just because Game 7s are great and best of 7 series. And yeah, man, if I had to just ballpark it or take a wild guess, I think Florida wins it in 6.
Yep.
On home ice, they're the more physical team. They've played better, even though the series, was tied, and now Florida kind of has the advantage in the games count. But I don't know. I don't see it going back to Canada based off of the fact that Florida won it on their home ice, last season. They don't want to go back to Edmonton, and it isn't, the United States versus Canada. I am pulling for a Canadian team for the story. I have no allegiance to the state of Florida. I'm an LSU grad. I'm a Louisiana native, so couldn't care less about the Florida Panthers and their success. So I definitely would like to see Connor McDavid pull one out and win these 2 games, and the Oilers win it. But just based off of my very uneducated hockey knowledge, I think Florida wins in 6.
Okay. Here's the problem. Though, with the way this series is constructed for Edmonton. Home ice advantage is almost working in Florida's favor. I don't know the exact number. I think Florida is 10-3 on the road in these playoffs. Like, they're unbelievable on the road. And you saw it in the Toronto series, right? When Toronto took them to 7. Game 5 in Toronto, they beat the crap out of them. Toronto goes back to Florida. Game 6 wins it. Game 7 in Toronto, they beat the crap out of them. Florida's just a bunch of dogs, man. Like, they're not fazed by anything. They're obviously not scared of the moment. They just won it last year. I think that it's highly likely we get to 7, but then that's a problem for Edmonton. But there's one thing that sticks out in my brain more than anything else. Can you imagine a Game 7 for the Cup in Edmonton Wayne Gretzky is on the TNT set. Wayne Gretzky is there watching Connor McDavid, ready to pass the torch to the next great Oiler. It's just hockey, like, it's beautiful. Yeah, and now Gretzky has said that he believes McDavid is better than him. I think that's probably him just being
That's
a good
just the
dude.
great one being very humble. But yeah.
Right, exactly. But man, that would be like just like poetry, for the sport to see that happen, to see that play out, and then Florida wins the game by 4 because that's what they do. But
yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, man. I'd love to see it. You set it up perfectly, and hopefully the Oilers can pull one out, and we can all collectively hold our breaths as Game 7 gets underway in Edmonton, hopefully.
So let's go ahead and toss it to our interview. We have Centenary head football coach Byron Dawson on the show. We go through a lot with Coach, get us some motivational texts, get fired up. So we'll let you listen to that, and then we'll be back at the end to wrap it up.
We now welcome in one of our favorite coaches in the area, whether it be high school or college here on the Benchwarmers, Coach Byron Dawson, the head coach of the Centenary Gents football team, getting ready for their second official season.
Yeah.
Very excited, Coach. I know you guys have done a ton of upgrades over there. I mean, I can just see the shot behind you. It looks awesome. How's it been going over there at Centenary, my man?
Great. We're excited about the momentum that we have, and you can feel it on campus. I think our leadership, Dr. Holloman and David Orr, and all the leaders, Karen Soul, the academic team, everyone has done an amazing job of supporting not only the college but the athletics here, and giving us the tools that we need to have success. So I'm excited about what the future has in store.
And Coach, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably technically your 4th year on campus, because you had the initial introduction year, then you had kind of the unofficial official season, and then last year. What has it been like seeing the growth of this program as you come in, and it looks entirely different compared to when you first were on campus to where it is now?
Well, March 1st of 2022 was my first day press conference, and that year I went out with a briefcase in my hand with just pictures. I had renderings, and I laminated them, and I put them in my bag, and my goal was to go into every high school in the state of Louisiana. And so it was just a vision. It was just a seed, and to see the growth, to see the harvest, and to see things that wasn't in that rendering, like the housing complex that's being built. It's the first new housing that we've had on our campus since 1960. To see 4 new luxury apartment style buildings being built right across the street from my office, to see the other things that are happening, that's growth that's happening on our campus is pretty amazing. Just to know that there's momentum there, and that the community and the board of trustees and the leadership here is really pushing us forward to our next step.
You've coached at the highest level of high school in Louisiana, of course. Tulane, correct, is where you went after that.
Yes.
When did this dream kind of start to form for you, that, man, we could really start something special right here in Shreveport?
Well, when I was at Tulane, my first year there, coaching the defensive line, my first year, we had the #1 defensive lineman in college, kid by the name of Cam Sample, and we had another defensive lineman who led the nation in sacks. And we went to a bowl game. So grateful for my experience. But during that time, I really felt this niche that I was called to do more. Willie Fritz had me in a leadership role where I was leading the team chapel, and I was motivating the team, and he gave me a platform to do what I love to do, which is inspire young men and help them to reach their dreams and goals. But I felt like, there was more for me to do. And, I had the opportunity, and really blessed by God, to, come across this job. And, after speaking to David Orr and seeing his heart and what he had, he's a big thinker. He's very vision oriented and dream focused. And he has a passion for Centenary. He's been involved with Centenary for over 35 years. He's met his wife here. And so this is in his blood. And it really reminded me of being under Denny Duron and back at Evangel and some of the great things that you've seen that program do. And so I said we could take a roadmap and really step out on faith and make this happen. And from that time, the growth and momentum has just happened. But I'm just going to tell you, it takes a team, it takes a village, it takes so many different people in so many different areas coming together with a common goal, pulling the same direction, and that's how you get growth. And so I'm just proud to be a part of that, and to see it happen is a great blessing.
Reestablishing a college football program isn't an easy task to be done. The first year with the games on campus a season ago, what was the biggest hurdle that you think this program had to overcome in that first year, and how do you feel they met that challenge?
Well, one of the things that I've taken pride in myself is never using the playing the youth card. Sometime in coach talk, and we say, "Oh, we're young," and if you have a successful program where you're playing your best players and they're peaking at the right time, you're going to play a lot of older guys, and so you're going to always be young. For me, my focus is having time to build a culture, to really get the kids to buy in to what we're doing. Of course, there's some physical hurdles when you're playing against guys that are 21, 22, and you got most of your guys are 18, 19, 17. And so there are some physical strength hurdles, but those are just part of the game. So I think building that culture, coming into a situation where there's not a lot of upperclassmen, there's not a lot of big brothers, there's not a lot of guys that have been down that road that can kind of take guys under their wings. But going into this year, you feel good about having several guys that have been in the program for 2 years, 3 years. So we've got some juniors this year that have been in a leadership role, that knows the culture, that have had success. Some of these guys are what I call Centenary men. They're 4.0. They're doing great. They're thriving. They're having success on the field. And so I'm excited about having that on campus and having that mentorship and that leadership, which is so important.
You kind of answered my next question there about having some experience on the roster this year. And you talk about, obviously, excitement for those guys that have been here, but obviously in the world of college football, you're always thinking about who's coming next. I know you are at every local high school all the time. What has the excitement or the reception been like from these local athletes when you do give them an opportunity to play college football right here at home?
One of my driving forces with this job was to give guys the opportunity to play college football. When I was at Tulane, the thing that I noticed the most was that college football was changing at the highest level. There was a lot of guys that were being recruited because of their ranking, their stars. There was a lot of trade that was going on through the transfer portal, where guys were, we were recruiting several guys that already had college experience. And look, I 100% understand that. That's important because you need to win fast. But at the same time, I always have loved developing guys. I love what you do on the high school level, to see a kid come in as a freshman, wet behind the ears, and then turn into a full-grown man machine by his senior year and just doing great things. And, that's what I wanted to do here, and that's what we're doing here. We're building this program from the ground up, and it's not just a football team. It's just not a club. It's a program. So what that means is what we do in the community is important. How we act in the classroom, how we support the other things on campus, how we're not just athletes, but we're student athletes, how we're ingrained in all of the student activities here. And we represent ourselves well in the community with our character. And so those are all the building blocks to building a solid program. And if you build that foundation strong, when the wind and the rain and the storms come, you can withstand it because you've got a good foundation. And so, that's our mindset, but that comes with a lot of challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the changing of college football, specifically at the Division I level. I mean, look, we don't have to sugarcoat it. It is becoming closer and closer to professional football every day.
Yes.
With what you guys are doing, do you have that feel like, hey, we're still capturing that essence that makes college football so great?
We are. Our kids, all of their scholarship is based on their academics and merit, character. And so, we don't have a lot of the flashy things that guys would want, but what we have family, we have community, and we have the opportunity to play quality college football. I think the thing that most people would be surprised by is just how good the talent is. We have NFL scouts that come in here. They're not showing up for nothing. And so they're quality football players on our level, and there's quality teams, and the speed of the game is fast, and guys can get that experience of playing college football. And so what that gives us is a product where guys really love the game. They really have a passion, and they really have that old school feel prior to all the NILs and all the things that's been happening. You really got a core group of guys that really play for the love of the game.
And speaking of the love of the game, you want to recruit your background people that love Louisiana, that live here, that grew up here, and want to represent their home state in that regard at Centenary. But there are also opportunities for players in other states, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas,
Right.
and we can even throw in Mississippi there. What
Yes.
are you doing in terms of getting the national or local regional network built up for Centenary as well?
We have kids on our team from all over the country, but the majority of our roster are regional kids. The majority of our kids come within I would say 3 to 5 hour range, and it's really because this is such a talented area of the country. It wouldn't matter where I was coaching at. You know, to this part of the country, you're talking about Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. This is such a rich area when it comes to high school athletics. And so that's why you see schools from Minnesota and Ohio and all over the country coming to this area, showing up, flying down here, driving to recruit. A lot of teams here, we're not going up to those areas to find student athletes, but those teams often come here just because of the quality. So we just happen to be at the right place at the right time. And then when you talk about the Shreveport Bossier area, has always been an area that's been overlooked when it comes to recruiting. And several of the teams that we play in our conference from other states come to Shreveport, and they get kids, they recruit kids, they offer kids. So it just shows you just the level of talent that we have here locally.
Right, and you've already done such a good job. I mean, every signing day we go to, there's a couple Centenary kids signing there, kids that we see make
Yes.
plays every Friday night on our show. But the fan support, it was there as well last season. You got the
Yes.
stadium built, and especially that first game, it was rowdy in there, just unbelievable
Yes.
stuff. Were you kind of blown away by the interest that you saw in that first year?
You couldn't have wrote it better in a fairy tale book, to see the whole process of building it up, and to show up out there and to see the mayor, the leaders of our city, and just the community. We don't have that many students on our campus to fill up that stadium. It was like 4 hours before the game, I was getting the alert that the game was sold out. I'm like, how are we sold out? We got grass and space out there, but pack them in however we can. Let's get them in here. So, to whom much is given, much is required. There's always that pressure of performing and making the people that support you proud, and to make your city proud. But to see them show up and show out, it was a testament And I just feel so grateful and blessed by God that we were able to do that. But it just shows the great job you guys have been doing covering us, putting the word out there. It shows, the connecting in the community, that warm up season that we had, the momentum that we built. I think, going 9-1 that year, playing those games really helped us build some momentum. And, those guys did a great job. And so it was like all these little things coming together that gave us a big result that day. And I was proud. We had a winter break game, and we didn't even have kids on campus, and we had a packed out crowd there for one of our games last season. So just to see the support for college football here in our city, I'm very pleased with that.
Well, Coach, we'll take the compliment for helping spread the word about Centenary football, but you're putting in the legwork, you and your staff and everybody else on campus.
Yes,
What are you most looking forward to in terms of season 2 on campus and maybe some changes from the game day atmosphere? You have those, if you will, bumps in the road of like, okay, we learned this, don't do this. This is something awesome that we want to keep going. What have you kind of envisioned for the game day atmosphere in season 2 on campus?
Yeah, preparation takes away all the pressure. And, the best way to learn something is the hard way, to actually experience it. So last year was our first NCAA season. And so, to play against the teams and the staff and, playing against, older guys, the game day, I guess you would say, checklists and all the distractions that went along with it. There's a lot of things that are mentally that'll take your mind off of the task at hand. And so going into this season, not having that. Now I know our stadium was being put in like right up to the kickoff. They were building our stadium. I think the day before they were putting in the last pieces, and I'm like, all those little things to be settled this year and to feel like, okay, those distractions aren't there. We can really put all our energy into the game and the opponents that we're playing. I feel good. And, for me, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. A loss, champions don't lose. They just look at that opportunity and say, I'm going to learn from it. And so that's the thing that I probably most look forward to, seeing how we respond and how we bounce back. We end up overall 4-4 in conference. There was a 2-way tie with Texas Lutheran and McMurray. So we finished second overall in our conference. And many people thought that was great, but I know we have goals to grow and to get better and to improve. And it's going to take a lot of hard work. We've got a great conference. We got great opponents to play on our schedule. But I think, everyone knows now what it's going to take to get there.
I'm getting fired up already, Coach. You have a way about you. I mean, it's obvious why you're a coach. And with that being said, let's talk a little bit about you, man. What did you have this? Was there one moment growing up or whatever when you realized that, coaching, leading people is what I want to do?
Well, my father was a great mentor. My father died June the 12th, 2020 during COVID. So this is always a rough day for me each year. But I tell you, the legacy that he left, he was all about helping people. And he would say, if I can help someone as I pass along, my living will not be in vain. And so that's my heart. And the reason why we put Shreveport on the front of our jersey, because that's our heart. We're about unity and community, and that's where we're located. And so you got to take care of home first. And so, for me, my heart is, hey, how can we help guys continue to play a game that they love? How can we bring a product to our city that makes our city better? We don't complain, we train. We don't look at problems, we find solutions. And so in our mindset, our mind is totally set on how can we make this place better? I can't wait to go down to chasing aces and hit the ball and have some fun because they're making our city better.
Right.
I can't wait to be a part of some of the growth that's happening in our city because this is my city, it's my place, and I take pride in it, and I'm a product of it. And so that's probably what drives me the most, making a difference. because that's your legacy. And being a preacher kid, growing up in a faith family, and just seeing the impact of helping people and making a difference, and knowing that when it's all said and done, what people remember is how did you serve them? How did you help them? How did you uh, be there for them in their tough time? Those are the things that really last in life. And I think those are the things that drive me to coach this great game of football and really change the trajectory of young men's life. And when I come back and I see them as doctors and lawyers and movers and CEOs, that really make me proud when they say, Coach, that toughness that you taught me when you got on me about being late, when you made me go to class when I didn't feel like going. Those are the things that I use to run my company and help people feed their families. Those are the championship trophies that nobody see, nobody knows about, but they're very valuable to me.
Well, Coach, my heart goes out to you. I lost my mom during COVID as well, so I know that pain, and it is tough. You kind of getting me to my next question, the motivational text messages that we see
Yes.
every day.
Right.
It kind of a two-parter. I'll ask the first part first. How many motivational text messages do you send out a day?
Man, that is a labor of love. So I probably send out to over in my own circle, there's just probably close to about 200 people. I don't know what type of data I have on my phone, but if you text me and I got you, now you're in my list.
Yes.
And so I start to communicate with you, and but it reaches thousands. One guy told me, he said this lady wanted, was gonna to commit suicide, but she got a message and she decided not to. And so the people that I share it with other people. And it's just a way to pass on positivity and give hope to people. And like I said, each one teach one, each one reach one. Just making a difference and trying to be positive. Sometimes we focus so much on the negative, but even today, Thursday is Thankful Thursday. So we just take a little pause for the cause and be thankful for all the great things that we have.
I'm terrible at responding to messages, but I can't tell you
Right.
how many times, man, I've had you're having a bad day, something's going on, and I'm telling you, it
Right.
is right on time, man. It's
That's
like
right.
you're a magician with it. It's right on. I'm like, I look at the phone, I'm like, all right, Coach, I feel it, man. I'm ready to go. So my
That's
second
right.
part of that was, could you give us a motivational text right now? Like, you just say it out loud.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'll tell you. When you stop getting better, you stop being good. And with that word basically saying, don't ever get complacent. However you've been blessed and whatever good has happened, just keep on getting better. Because when you stop getting better, you stop being good. That this whole myth of maintain is a myth. You're either growing or you're shrinking. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. So you never maintain. So just always find a way each day to just get better at something.
I'm ready to
I,
go.
I, I'm
Ready to
fired
go.
up.
Fired up. Have a good day tonight.
Yeah. So,
That's
Coach,
right.
bringing it back to your Shreveport roots, played high school ball at Evangel. You actually had Centenary playing games there in the first year that y'all were playing football. Seeing the growth at that school and how impactful that place has been on you, how much does Evangel take up in your heart in terms of like how often you think back on it and how impactful it was in your outlook and the way your life has taken its directions?
Well, man, for me, I spent most of my life on Broad Acres Road. From the time that I was a student from ninth through 12th grade, for the 17 years that I spent there, I learned how to become a coach right there. And it wasn't easy. The expectations are so high there, the standards are so high. And working for Pastor Denny, he was such a great teacher, great leader, a perfectionist that stretch you, that pull the greatness out of you through his style of being very optimistic and creative and innovative. And so I've learned so much from Denny Duron and the staff there, Francis Duron, that whole family. And My daughter graduated from there. She's a student here at Centenary, Dean's List student, who's getting close to graduation here. My son goes to school there right now. And so when you think about Evangel, that's family. And but you can look back in 1990, they were practicing on a parking lot, and before you could blink, they were the number one team in the nation and a household name. And so it just shows you what faith can do over time if you're consistent and you persistent and you make a difference. You lead in the community, you serve people. And so that's always been my heart, and I always be indebted to Evangel Christian Academy for what they've not only done for me, but what they've done for my family, and the great traits of excellence that I've learned, and culture of honor, and all the systems and methods that they have over there in place. I'm just so proud to be an alumni.
And so, do you have a Pop Houston jersey? Is he your favorite player? I mean, what have you seen from that kid, man?
Man, he is amazing, and like I said, there's several great student athletes over there, and we have one on our team right now, Jacob Wilson, who was first team All Conference as a freshman, made All Regional, which in Division III there's so many schools. All Region is like All American because there's so many schools. It's the largest division when it comes to schools. And so, just to see his growth, and then, there'll be more, hopefully in the future that can make that trip from Broad Acres over here. But, we're excited about just, Evangel having their own TV show. And, that's great. That's my school, and I love it. And, like I said, just the character and the principles and the leadership there has really paid off over the years.
So, Coach, I've always known you as Byron Dawson, the coach, but Byron Dawson, the player that was an Evangel Eagle, recruited to LSU, Division I athlete, who maybe mirrors your style, or who can you kind of reflect on as like, that kind of looks like a young Byron Dawson out there playing right now, whether it's in college or the pros, somebody that kind of showed the impact that you had on the defensive line?
Man, I like Jones. I like the DT from the Chiefs. I've always been a fan of the interior guys. There's a local kid, Elijah Chapman,
Yep.
who always married size and speed, and he didn't have the height. Elijah's about 5'10", 5'11". Me is 6'1". I was considered the shortest. I was short at 6'1" in college, and I played beside Marcus Spears, 6'4", Marquise Hill, 6'8", Kendrick Allen, 6'6". So at 6'1", I was that short guy in the huddle, and you got built-in leverage. Coaches always tell you stay low. Well, if I'm already low, I'm already down there. So I got built-in leverage, and so to watch Elijah Chapman and to see him not get drafted, not get a free agents deal, and then kind of stay the course, get a call from the New York Giants, go to tryouts, and then get picked out of 38 guys. He's the only guy they kept at the rookie minicamp. And then to have that preseason game where he ran the kid down and went viral for making a play, and then to start 5 games for the Giants. He would be that guy that I would look at, one of my former players, look at him and say, hey, this kid didn't have the height, but he used the tools that he had to have success in the NFL, and it doesn't hurt that he's from Shreveport. So he would be that guy.
Yeah, I can see that, the scrappiness and all that. It definitely plays.
Yes.
We usually ask our guests, we ask a few questions toward the end about music they listen to, stuff like that. But I kind of want to change it up a little bit for this case. Being a college coach, being a former player, Division I, how different is the locker room soundtrack now than it was when you were playing?
Oh man, the soundtrack is, I don't understand what they're saying on the soundtrack. We had an old soul of R&B, and so you're listening to Boyz II Men, KC and JoJo. The rap music was a little bit more conscious.
Yep.
Told stories. But I don't understand. I can't translate what I'm hearing sometimes. So that's a challenge. But the beats are great, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a kid from the '90s. Who are you throwing on from back then, and even now? Maybe you want to listen to on your way to work or working out yourself or whatever you're doing to throw on some tunes.
Man, I love faith music.
Okay.
So, I feel like faith music inspired me. But, when I was in college, and what really gets me is like the Rocky soundtrack,
Yeah.
Hmm.
just those type of songs, the Top Gun songs.
Okay.
Those songs I'm big on movie soundtracks because
Same.
you
All
think
right.
about those moments that really gets you going. And so that would probably be my motivation. And then some old school rap, some, you know, Will Smith, LL Cool J, guys like that, just the old school rappers. Those guys were fun to listen to.
You're speaking my language there.
Yes.
My wife hates passing me the aux cord in the car because we're getting some soundtrack music in there. I guarantee you, man. That's
That's
awesome
right.
stuff.
Yeah, I love those
Yeah,
songs.
get you hyped, man. Uh,
Yep.
in terms of TV streaming, whatever, is there that one show that you go back to or something you're watching right now?
Man, I like to watch the old shows that I watched growing up. In the Heat of the Night is a good one. The Jeffersons.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, uh, Man, Knight Rider is a classic
Yep.
for me. Michael Knight,
Hmm.
David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider. Those are all good shows. And I just grew up in the area. You had to wait all week to
Hmm.
watch your favorite show on Thursday or Friday. Family Matters and things like that. So that's kind of the era that I grew up in. So if I'm scrolling and streaming, those are the shows that I'll stop at.
So I don't want to lead the witness here, but we are sponsored by Southern Classic Chicken.
Yep.
Your favorite local establishment to eat at, whether past or present, that you think of, like, you know what, I want a meal. I've got no guilt associated with this. Where am I going to eat? Byron Dawson.
Brother, you said it. Southern classic chicken.
Let's
You can't
go.
you can't beat that. I've been a lot of places. I've had a lot of different bird, but that bird, is different.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think you can't go wrong. Superior is a great place, for Mexican food. They support us here. But yeah, man, Southern. If you want a good sit down, Superior. But if you're on the runs, gotta go to Southern Classic.
All right, we're going jumbo combo, mixed, white, dark meat. Got to get the pepper. What's your
Jumbo
order?
combo, dark meat, pepper on the side,
Come on.
uh, classic sauce.
A man of
This
fine
man knows.
taste.
Man knows what he wants.
Not surprising at all, Coach. You got it going
That's
on, man.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to let you go. We talked for a little over 30 minutes here. I know you're a busy man, but we'd love to have you on as we get closer to the season. How many days out are we to the season? Do you know off the top of your head?
And yeah, we're a little under 85 days
Awesome.
to kick off. September the 6th, and we're excited about it. And now we go. Now we go.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll hit you up. We'll get you back on as we get closer to the season. Get people excited about the year to come. But I think they're going to be pretty fired up just hearing you talk. And
Yeah.
get me back in that chain for the motivational messages, Coach. Sometimes we need it, man.
I got you, man. You're in there.
All right, you're the man. Byron Dawson, Centenary head coach. Thanks so much for hanging out with the Benchwarmers today.
Great
I tell you,
interview
no one
with
better
Byron
than
Dawson.
Coach Byron Dawson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta incorporate that bird in my lexicon a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Southern Classic Chicken. It's great seeing these coaches' personalities get out a little bit more. And we always want to get into the nitty gritty of their programs, whether it's baseball, basketball, and of course football with Centenary Gents football. But yeah, peeling the curtain back, Will Smith music. Haven't really heard that. Didn't Will Smith come out with a new song recently? I wonder if Coach Dawson is listening to that. I haven't listened to that, but the first song that came to
hope
my
he has.
mind of Will Smith was like "Summertime," and of course the Fresh Prince of Bel Air theme. But yeah, shout out to Coach Dawson for taking the time to speak with us, and always a nice plug for Southern Classic Chicken.
I got to be honest with you, Daniel. The new Will Smith song is just trash. It's not good. It's terrible.
Not surprised,
You would
but
think that someone you would think that someone with as much influence as Will would have some people in his corner to be like, yeah, this ain't it. Like, let's go back to the studio. But it didn't happen for him.
Mm-hmm.
You hate to see it. He's a legend of the game. And I guess that can be my ticked off for the week is that Will Smith's new song. It's not good. It hurts. It really. I haven't even let you listen to it yet. We'll do that after the episode.
Yeah. My ticked off, not really ticked off about anything I'm ticked off about this weather delay right now between LSU and UCLA. So probably not getting highlights in for 9. That's a wash, but I'll get to show Gage Woods no-hitter again and get some reaction from him. So that'll be cool to see. The NBA Finals Game 5 ongoing on a Monday. That will push the 10 o'clock back. So maybe if they, don't have a significant weather delay in Omaha, we'll be able to get some highlights in of LSU and UCLA. But, yeah, man, nothing really grinding my gears. I guess overall, just looking forward to, some more college baseball in the College World Series. Coastal Carolina, another program on the opposite side of the bracket playing well. They're in their winners bracket side. So maybe, a potential LSU Coastal Carolina finals if everything works out from my vantage point. But Arkansas wouldn't be disappointed to see them advance either. And head coach Dave Van Horn finally bringing a title to Fayetteville. We will know more Tuesday and Wednesday on the outlook for that. But, yeah, life's good, man. And looking forward to seeing you back here safe and sound, you and Kim and the dogs. Hope y'all had a great time in Oklahoma City as the Thunder fans are losing their minds over them potentially winning their first NBA title.
Yeah, we had a great time, man. I know we did just cross back into the great state of Louisiana, so we're very excited about that. Let's get the sock check from you. I'll do a twist on the sock check this time. Right. We'll let you go first.
So I wore these again. These are the Dragon Ball Z socks that we weren't really sure of the kanji or whatever, the katana, whatever it's called, the writing of Japanese writing. I think it was a misprint of the Master Roshi, turtle school, and it just came out really weird. But they're red, white, and blue. We just had Flag Day. I love the United States of America because I live here. And, it kind of matched my red tie today, wearing that to support Arkansas subtly, hoping for the Hogs to win. So, yeah, man, sometimes you just got to coordinate. And then, the Yankees, because I'm a Yankees fan.
Dang right. Well, I was going to do dog check instead. So we got Sasha here.
Mm-hmm.
Give her a couple treats. She's excited.
She's elite. They're all elite. All your dogs are elite, Alex. They're great.
Well, Sasha's been the road warrior. She's the best traveler. So bring her along with us for trips like this. She enjoys the alone time. I'm rocking the North DeSoto cap today from our care package from DeSoto Parish that I still haven't given you the hat.
Nice. Let's keep it running. Let's keep it running. It'll be eventually I'll get it.
Kim says no, we can't keep it running.
That's so. Your back so many times.
She's put I know. We'll figure that out.
She's trying to see it in the condo. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. She's tired of the Mansfield and Griffins and Logansport.
On the kitchen table.
Whatever. We're gonna get them to you. Daniel, we're back Tuesday. Excited for it. I think I'd be freezing again. We're just gonna let you wrap this thing up. I don't even know if you can hear me at this point.
I can still hear you.
Wrap it up.
You were a little pixelated, but I'll go ahead and take the steering wheel from here. Safe travels for you and Kim on the rest of the way on your road trip back from Oklahoma City into Louisiana. For Alex Anderson, I'm Daniel Brown. You've been watching and listening to the Benchwarmers. We'll see you next week.